dolls, welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, then welcome. If this is your second time watching, thank you so much for stopping by again. I hope that you have already subscribed to my channel. Now, if this is your third, fourth, or fifth time watching my video, sis, like, I need you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I know you got your commitment issues and you're working through your trust issues, but I'm gonna need you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that we can make it official. Okay, so a lot of things have changed since my last video. First things first, if you haven't already noticed from the intro video that I have, I'm no longer running the half Jung, half genetics Instagram or the Dr.Jung Money Doll Instagram. So it's just my Instagram, my @JChantel_ Instagram. And if you're not already following me, what are you doing? Your girl has been flicking it up. Like, I have been setting social media on fire. So make sure that you go ahead and follow that Instagram. I am giving surgery updates on that Instagram now. So there's no point in me having to okay, I do need to know how to talk in order to be a YouTuber. So let's go ahead and get that together. Okay, so there was no point in me having two separate Instagrams, so that's a new update. I'm super excited for today's video because today's video is going to be a lot different. Typically, whenever I do my videos, I always have my face beat, and then somebody in the comments, one of my lovely dolls, always says something about like my makeup looking amazing or me doing a makeup tutorial, and I've got different comments on my Instagram as well. So I wanted to do something different and do kind of like a get ready with me / Q&A. So that's what this video is going to be about. So as I answer some of your questions that you guys have asked me over the past couple of months, frequently asked questions, I am going to be going ahead and doing this look. This is my fall favorite look, giving the girls fall, you get what I'm saying? So that's what we're doing, a very smoky eye, fall brown lip type of vibe. Because like, you gotta know how to do your makeup after you get a BBL. It's kind of like a given, like you just got to. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this. I'm going to be trying to do this look within 15 minutes, so there are going to be some things that I'm going to do off camera. That is for your benefit because I know your attention span is short. So I'm going to try to keep it as entertaining as possible, so don't be clicking through my video. All right, ahead and get into the questions. So I've already set my I hope that's not messing up the camera. I've already set my foundation with just doing my brows. I used my favorite Benefit brow pencil, the Precisely My Brow Pencil from Benefit. Okay, she's acting funny. She's not wanting to zoom in, but this is what it looks like. I'll also loop it down below. And I'm also using this Laura Mercier powder. Girl, you better get it. There you go, because I'm like, we about to fight. And this is in shade, the translucent powder in shade medium deep. It is a little bit too dark for me, but I still use it because like clean my brows up using this NARS Armande concealer. Definitely a fave of mine. I hope that's the right side. Yep, it is. And this is in shade Armande, which is the medium dark shade. So the first question is, do I feel like the purpose of me getting the surgery was 100% fulfilled? Okay, so the purpose of me having the surgery, and I'm gonna go ahead and conceal my lids for the eyeshadow. The purpose of me having this surgery was because I wanted to go ahead and fix my hip dips. That was like one of my major concerns, was my hip dips. And then the second concern that I had was my gut, of course. Like, I had stomach that I wanted to get rid of, and I had very stubborn fat. So I wouldn't, you know, I would work out and it just would not go away. So when I got the surgery, I did notice right away that my hip dips were filled. Like, they were overfilled. Like, I was thick, shug. Like, I was real thick. So as I healed and as time went on, I do feel like things kind of evened out a little bit more, and I was able to kind of get more of a natural result. And I can loop a picture in right now to show you guys what my hip dips look like. I am satisfied with my hip dips. Are my hip dips gone 100%? I would say yes, before I would say no. Like, I feel like if I wanted to be like super nitpicky, I would say like I have very tiny hip dips, but coming from where I was, the hip dips are non-existent. And I'll go ahead and loop a before picture here as well so that you guys can see where I came from. So from where I was to where I am now, I would say yes, my hip dips are gone, baby, and I'm so happy. And of course my stomach is gone as well, which, like I said, that was the major thing, because none of the problems that I had, in my opinion, were being resolved how I wanted them to be via working out. So I'm happy. I'm super, super happy. Next question that you girls are always asking me, y'all always want to know, is this question: how much did I spend in total? So I actually did the math. I'm gonna go ahead and put my base on using this Bobbi Brown foundation stick. It's one of my favorites. It's like definitely a go-to. And this is in shade Warm Walnut. Now this is my summer shade. I haven't gotten any fall shades because my skin does get lighter in the fall. So I'm gonna put this on as a base, but as I do my highlight and contouring, it'll even out in the end. Okay, so I actually, and this just melts into my skin. Oh, you can barely see it. Okay, back up to the topic at hand. I actually had to do the math on this question because I wasn't too sure. And honestly, the way that money was just going left and right, I don't even think I wanted to know the answer. Like, honestly, truly. So, when I did the math, I ended up spending $26,000.
Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
And that included the surgery price, which was $17,000. Also included the $2,600 that I paid for my massages while I was in Houston. The $3,000, around $3,000 that I paid for my massages while being here in LA. And it included my 5-day recovery stay in Houston with Nesta Recovery Home. It's just, yeah, it included all of that stuff. So in total, I paid around, if not more than $26,000. So next question: what are some tips that you have for flying back home? You have to fly back home. I would say the first tip that I would have is, if you can afford first class, get first class. I'm gonna go ahead and go back in with this concealer that I told you guys about earlier. If you can afford first class, you know, get first class. But if you can't, that's okay too. So my flight from Houston to Los Angeles was actually like 3 hours. It was 3 hours and I want to say 45 minutes. Yeah, it's like 3 hours and 45 minutes. And my husband was with me on my flight. I was a little bit nervous. So what I did was I pretty much sat for takeoff. And then when it came to, once we reached cruising altitude, I told the flight attendant that I had just had surgery and that I wanted to stand for the duration of the flight. And she said that that's perfectly fine. Like, it was perfectly fine. It wasn't a problem that I wanted to do that. Nobody was upset. They didn't like look at me crazy or nothing like that. So I would say, first off, you know, make sure you have your BBL pillow, of course, but then also make sure you communicate with the flight attendants just to let them know like what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and contour using my Bobbi Brown foundation stick. This is in a cool walnut shade, which is a lot darker than the shade that I'm wearing. So I told the flight attendant that I wanted to go ahead and stand. So once they reached cruising altitude, like I said, I stood in the back and we talked for a while, and then I may have stood for the 2 hours, and then eventually I went to go sit down, and I felt fine. But if I started to feel any type of way, I made sure that I got up and stood. So that would be one tip If you can travel with somebody, travel with somebody. If you can't, like, it's not the end of the world. Try not to stress out too much about the flight. Like, it's really not worth it. You have so much stuff to handle and take care of. Stressing about unnecessary stuff is just not, like, that's not what God has for you, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and blend this out. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and go back in and like really blend out my nose contour, and then after that I'm gonna set it with some powder and then start working on my eyes. That everything is blended, I am going to go ahead and start working on my eyes. For my eyes, I'm going to be using this palette by Jackie Aina. I think it's the perfect fall palette. It has a lot of like neutral colors and stuff like that. Let me show you. Ooh. Let me show you guys what it looks like. And I'm going to be using Ginger, what is this one? Credit, and then Edges for this look. I'm going to be doing like a smoky eye look. One thing you wish you knew before having surgery. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cover the base using Ginger with a fluffy brush. I'm using this fluffy brush from Morphe. One thing that I wish I knew before surgery. Whew. I say this all the time. Like, if you have been following me, especially if you follow me on Instagram, the biggest thing that I love to tell people is that you can only control so much with this healing journey. And I definitely, I thought I knew that, but you know, dealing with the complication that I'm dealing with now, which I'll let you guys know more about in my 3-month post-op update appointment that I had with Dr.Jung. I wish that I knew that like you can only do so much. Like, do everything you can do, and besides that, oops, you guys haven't been able to see. Okay, so this is where I am. Do everything that you can do when it comes to your post-op, and then outside of that, honestly, just give it to God. Because when I first got introduced into like the surgery world, I got introduced on this notion of only people who don't wear their fajas get complications, who don't get massages, who, you know, don't eat healthy, they get these complications. But that's not true. Like, that's a huge myth. I did everything right. Like, if you guys have been following me, you know that I did everything that I was supposed to do. I did more than that, and I still ended up with a complication. And the reason being is because at the end of the day, we only have so much control over our bodies. You cannot force your body to heal in a particular way. You just can't. No matter how much you want to, it just does not work like that. And that's okay. So, you know, you just have to take up your cross, whatever it is, and just deal with it, you know? So that's kind of where I am right now. And that's one thing that I wish I would have knew prior to, instead of listening to people that's like, if you are perfect, you will not have a problem. That is not a guarantee. So yes. Somebody said, what did you ask Jung for when it came to shape? Hard eyes. I actually did not ask him for any particular shape. I was very big on still wanting to look like myself. Like, I never wanted to look like anybody else. So I've always wanted to look like myself when it came to surgery. So I didn't show him any wish pics. I'm gonna go in with Edges now. Is it blurry? I hope it's not blurry. That will make me upset. I'm gonna go in with Edges in the crease, and I'm gonna be using this fluffy brush from Anastasia that came with the palette. I didn't ask him for anything specific because, first off, I don't like to use wish picks, because a lot of these wish picks that people are using, and I understand the concept of them. Like, I'm not saying that I don't understand the concept of them. I'm just saying that oftentimes with these wish picks and these ideas that we have, they're not feasible because they're Like, not only are they surgically altered, but then we also have Photoshop, and I'm not against Photoshop. However, it makes it very difficult for a surgeon to medically make some of these things happen that aren't even like real. You get what I'm saying? So I would say that if you are into wish pics and stuff like that, first off, make sure that your wish pic is not so far out of reach. Like, if you naturally, if you know that your shape isn't nowhere close to that wish pic, you know, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment, and you don't want to do that. So you just want to make sure that whatever wish pic you are showing your surgeon, and Dr.Jung doesn't even like wish pics, so whatever wish pic you're showing your surgeon, make sure that it is true to what you actually look like, because you don't want to be disappointed. You don't want to have super high expectations that are not able to be met. So you just want to make sure that like you are being realistic with yourself. Now I'm going in with the darkest shade, which is Credit, using the flat end of this brush. So now I'm going to go ahead in the center of my eye, go ahead and start building this smoky eye out. Would you recommend a BBL or surgery for an older woman? First of all, absolutely. Like, I am very much pro people do what they want to do with their bodies. Like, I don't care, you know, if you're healthy, of course, make sure that you're healthy. And if you're healthy and it's something that you know, want to do, why not? Like, what? Please do. I definitely don't get fazed by that type of stuff. Like, some people are just like anti getting surgery before having babies and anti getting surgery before a certain age and even after a certain age. But I just say, do what makes you happy, because honestly, like, life is so short. People make these plans like, oh, I'm gonna do it after this or whatever the case is. And who's to say that that's even, if we're gonna even live to see that day. So I say live for now, you know, and worry about the rest later if it even becomes a concern. So I'm just putting this Credit shade all over my lid, and then I'm going to blend it out using the fluffy end of another brush that's similar, but it's clean. But yes, to answer your question, I would say most certainly if you are 50 and you are wanting to have a change in your life, and this is something that you might have been thinking about for a while, I say go for it. Like, make sure you're healthy. It doesn't matter what age you are, you should make sure you're healthy, period. But if it's something that you want and it's attainable, I keep doing that. If it's something that you want and it's attainable, why not? This is the brush I'm going to be using to go ahead and blend it out. And when I blend out, I first like to go ahead and take a clean brush and start blending out the shade into the edges shade. And then eventually I'm going to take a little bit of edges and start blending it in together, so it has a very very flawless transition. What kind of ab etch did you request? So I actually didn't even request any ab etching. I didn't pay for no ab etching. What I have heard is that sometimes, depending on your skin quality, Dr.Jung will just kind of do some very light definition for you, based on like your skin quality, and it's typically not the 4D ab etching. And maybe there are some dolls that got the 4D for free, but I didn't ask for any. But I really was hoping that he did give me some definition, and he did. So he just gave me very light definition that just kind of highlighted my abs, and I really appreciated that because it looks fire. Now I'm going to take a little bit of Credit, a little bit of ginger, blend it together, and start smoking it out. Another question that was asked is there any areas on my body that I do not like? I would say when I first had surgery, there was a particular side that I like the most, and I just want to say that like everybody's body is not symmetrical. It's just not. It's just a part of human anatomy to not have a symmetrical body. Do not get tripped out by that. It's just nothing to get tripped out about. You're not symmetrical, and that's okay. So surgery does not make you symmetrical. It just doesn't. And it's not. And smoky eyes are just perfect for fall. It's already just like a perfect time to have a good smoky eye. And like I said, you guys definitely need a signature look, especially after you have surgery. Like, you gotta be bringing it, honey. Beat face, beat body, period. All of the above. Yes. Okay, so this is where we are with the eyes. I'm liking it so far. It looks very nice. Like, it's not too much. Like, sometimes black is like very harsh, but this brown is like perfect. All right, so this is where we are right now. I put my lashes on off screen. I also did a drop shadow and some liquid eyeliner on top of my eye, but this is where we are. I still have to contour and highlight my face, as well as put on blush and a lip. So let's go ahead and keep it rolling. All right, so the next day of surgery advice. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, majority of the time, when people are having a surgery, especially one like a BBL, where in media it is highly spoken of as like one of the most dangerous surgeries in the world. And while I'm not belittling that fact, I think that it definitely does have so much fear and anxiety. And I want to show you this powder that I'm actually using as a bronzer from Lancome, and it is in shade Deep, so it's a lot deeper than my skin tone. Here it is, and then this is the back. And I like it because it's like a very gentle contour, and it actually like really complements my skin, because it's really hard for me to find a shade that's not too much, that's not too deep. So I like it. But yeah, now I'm gonna go ahead and use my favorite blush MAC shade called Raisin. Come on, girl, do your thing. All right, she's acting funny again, but this is what it looks like. I know it's a lot of fear that's kind of surrounded by having surgery, anxiety as well, because people are just like, you know, I don't want to die, and I completely understand that. However, I do think that it comes to a point where if this is something that you want to do, if this is something that you have, you know, either prayed about, talked to a loved one about, or, you know, just kind of made up in your mind that like this is something that you're gonna do, then you have to just kind of go for it. And one thing that helped me was, of course, prayer. Like, I prayed before the surgery, I prayed with my husband, I prayed during the whole entire process, and I still pray, you know. So you have to pray and just find your peace. Don't freak yourself out. Definitely guard your heart. This is not the time, the day before surgery, the day of surgery, it's just not the time to start researching stuff about people that have died, how they've died, when they died. You have to guard your heart from that type of stuff when you're getting ready to have surgery, because it will freak you out. And I'm gonna use this highlight that I typically always use by NARS called St. Barts. This is what it looks like from the back. Okay, she's still acting funny. It's okay, we still love her. But it's very pretty, and it's like a shimmery gold, but it's not too much. Isn't that cute? If y'all can even see it. It's like a shimmery gold shade. There she go. She's so funny acting, though. I don't know where she get that from. She is so funny. That's the time that you really have to guard your heart. Like, you really just cannot play with Satan on that day, because you will freak yourself out, have your blood pressure all high, be all negative and stuff like that. The day of my surgery, actually in a really good mood. I mean, you guys saw the vlog, so I don't have to get into it all the way, but I was in a really good mood. I felt peace. You know, whether I lived or died, I was just kind of like, you know I'm going to see Jesus, so I'm not really too concerned about it. You know, I think the only thing that I thought about was like, wow, like, what about my husband? What about my mom and my family and stuff like that? Like, am I being selfish because I'm having surgery and it's such a risky surgery? But ultimately, we cannot allow fear to control our lives, right? Like, we just can't. So I just decided to put my big girl panties on, and I did my research. I felt secure in the doctor that I chose. I had peace, and so I decided to go ahead and go for it. Trust the decision that you made and the surgeon that you decided to go with. and just know that like it's gonna be okay. For those of you who have made good decisions in your surgeons, it's gonna be okay. Others of you, I'm praying because I don't really know. Some people be having they be really doing some risky stuff, paying $1,000 for surgery, and I understand we're on a budget, but at the end of the day, you don't want nobody gambling with your life like that, you know? So that's a whole nother subject, whole nother video. I'm gonna go ahead and put on a lip, and I will be right back. Okay, so this is the finished look. Definitely giving fall, definitely giving like faces beat, period. I think it looks amazing, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And if you want me to continue to do videos like these, please leave it in the comments below. You can just leave a heart emoji or give me some type of love in the comments so that I can know that you guys enjoyed this video. Still have a lot of questions that I didn't get a chance to answer, so go ahead and leave those questions below, and I will be sure to make sure that I answer them in a part 2. All right, I'll see you guys next time.